Hi there. Welcome to Pallet University, and sadly, what is very likely one of, if not the last video that's going to go up on the channel. Um, at least sort of our regular type videos. Not just me sort of when I have time slash an idea slash something to put up on the channel very sporadically. Because if you did not see our sort of big life update video, I am moving to California into a very small apartment where I don't even have room for a desk, let alone space to make content. So, and then let alone time, either because I'm starting a new like full-time job, and it's a whole thing. So, that's sort of why my set is a little taken down, especially the bookshelf over here. A lot of stuff is already packed, but I really liked the idea. There was at one point, I've been a big fan of Shady Penguin for quite a while, and he posted an update video at some point, 2 years ago probably by this point. Basically, that he was taking a break from the channel, but he was like, but the channel's not like done, so like don't unsubscribe or anything. And he said, you'll know that the channel is done when I do a reaction video to my first ever video. And so, that's what we are going to be doing today, reacting to my first video that I put up on this channel. Not my first video ever, because I did have a Let's Play channel, but that is too cringe for me to even go watch. So we're going to react to this video instead. So, this is my first ever video. And funnily enough, I actually submitted this to, usually in January or so. Or I guess probably like November, December. Birdkeeper Toby usually puts out a sort of thing, because he usually takes a break sometime in January. So he puts out sort of like a call for other content creators to create videos and submit them to him to potentially be like sort of hosted on his channel, and he'll give you a shout out and direct people toward your channel. I submitted this to him. Unfortunately, it didn't make the cut, but Birdkeeper Toby has since, given me lots of really good, YouTube advice, and we've had several sort of like Discord calls, and we've chatted about different theories and things like that before. So he's just a generally super cool person. But this is a video that like you could tell my editing skills were just not great. Not that they're great now, but I was also using a different camera than the one that I currently have. It was just a little 720p webcam that I would upscale in editing to 1080p. And if you look at that person on your screen now, let's make it big so you can see it. That's not the same person as this person. I have much more hair here than I do here, which is not the case anymore. I also definitely stuck with like the lab coat shtick pretty much very consistently at the beginning, and then I only do it for like the super sciencey videos these days. But anyway, let's actually get into it. Hi there. Welcome to Pallet University. This room was also horribly echoey. I definitely did not have this mic yet. So the whole setup has gotten a very large upgrade since this point in time. But now, a few months ago, there was a really big stir around the Pokemon community when this clip of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was revealed. Ever since Gen 1... So, I also very much did like YouTuber voice during this instead of... and I still catch myself doing it sometimes, especially in more scripted videos, not like this one. But like, YouTuber voice is such a real thing. Like, that is not how I actually speak. This is much more how I actually speak. But this is very cringe for me to listen to at this point, because even my like YouTuber voice for scripted videos lately has not been like this. People have been wondering, what exactly is Venusaur? Is it a toad or a frog? Is it a dinosaur? Some kind of weird lizard thing? Well, I'm here to tell you that you're all wrong, and I can prove it with one simple thing. But before I reveal Venusaur's true identity, let's learn some biology. Now, way back in the day, the background audio is also much too loud for this. I clearly did not listen to this well enough while editing. 340-ish million years ago, the first amniotes evolved. Now, amniotes are vertebrate animals that lay eggs that don't need to be in water because they have some kind of shell called an amnion around them, which holds in water. Whereas if you look at the eggs of like a frog or salamander or other types of amphibians, they need... I don't know why. So, this dorm that I was in, almost none of the... I'm trying to think. So this channel was started in late 2018. Yeah. So this room definitely had an overhead light. Not all of the building or all of the rooms in this dorm building had overhead lighting, but this room did. I remember that specifically. So I don't know why I didn't have it on. Clearly I didn't actually understand lighting. Again, not that I really do here, but I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 lights on in my room right now. And I believe that I only had the Christmas lights and then maybe, and 1 light in the front, maybe 2. There was a light sort of built into like the desk that they give you for college, like in each dorm room. I think that was on, as well as a desk lamp, but like, oh, Gavin, you need to do better lighting. Because like I love all the stuff that I have in my background, you just can't tell what any of it is. To be in the water or in a moist environment for them to hatch it, or else they'll just die. Amniotes don't need to do this. Now when I say evolution, I mean it in the scientific sense, not really the Pokemon sense. The Pokemon sense is much more like metamorphosis. If you think of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, or since we're talking about frogs, like a tadpole growing up into a frog, and it even happens in like stages, where it starts off as the tadpole, then it's a tadpole with legs, then it's a full-grown frog. So almost just like how Pokemon evolution works, but it's actually called metamorphosis. Anyway, so almost right after the amniotes evolved, they split into 2 different groups called the... I actually don't know if I had a script for this. Now that I'm watching myself. I might have, because like I'm clearly not looking at the camera right here. So I think I'm looking at my script. But it's like, if I had a script, I did a really bad job of reading it, because this is not how I would have written a script even then. The diapsids and the synapsids. There's a lot. Never mind, that's what I was looking at. I was looking at, not the script, I was looking at OBS to be like, okay, where am I pointing? I think to make sure that I was pointing in the frame, you know? I'm pretty sure that's what I was actually doing there. So this might have been scripted, I don't actually remember. A lot of differences between diapsids and synapsids, but we're just going to boil it down really quickly for you. Diapsids have 2 holes in their skull, hence like the prefix di, and synapsids only have 1. Diapsids went on to evolve into a huge number of things. Basically, it's every reptile that you can ever think of, plus birds, because birds are technically reptiles. That's a whole different video topic. But anyway, but the synapsids also made a large group of animals, but they all went extinct except for 1 group, which is mammals. However, they really didn't... What am I doing? What is this? Why did I pick Oprah? I don't remember doing that. I also really don't remember picking, like, just doing the bird for Twitter either. That's super funny to me. Go straight to mammals overnight. You know, there's a lot of steps along the way from an early synapsid, you know, something like Dimetrodon, to something like you or I. One of these steps along the way that most people don't really think about is the evolution of the pinna. Now, if you don't know what that means, I don't really blame you. I didn't know what it was either until I took a class where, like an anatomy class. The pinna is actually the cartilage part of your ear. And if you look around at all sorts of different animals, only mammals have these. Our synapsid ancestors might have had them, but we don't really know. The only way that we know synapsids is through their fossils, which are bones that have been replaced by rocks. And soft parts like... I'm also talking way more slowly than I do these days. Even in most like scripted videos, I'll tend to talk relatively quickly. That's just sort of the like northeasterner in me, is that I tend to talk rather quickly. I noticed that a lot when I was living out in South Dakota. Ooh boy. Just everything that I did was generally just kind of faster than most of my office mates because they're from the Midwest, with one exception who was from New Jersey and was the same way as me. But yeah, I'm talking so slowly here for some reason. I think it's just that I was just not very confident in speaking to a camera without like narrating gameplay at this point. Cartilage don't really get preserved all that much. It's mostly just bones, teeth, things like that that are hard. The earliest fossil evidence that we have for pinna are from an animal called Spinalestes, which lived about 130 million years ago. However, the group that Spinalestes, was part of, had been around for quite a long time, so it's very likely that its ancestors also in that. I don't know what that animal is off the top of my head. Around 180 million years ago, so that's. I would guess that it's probably. Interpret that they actually existed. Why am I talking over myself? I would assume that that's probably a member of the group of animals called multituberculates, a very, very successful group of fossil mammals. So they were already mammals by this point. That were very rodent-like, but not rodents. A little confusing. But they were around for a really long time. They were around for like 160, 170 million years. So just because something's extinct doesn't mean that it wasn't really successful and had a really good run. It just didn't happen to make it to today. So that's probably what this thing is a member of. Without any kind of further evidence. But what does any of this have to do with Pokemon, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. Well, everyone says like that's so cringe. A frog or some kind of toad, some kind of reptile, or there's also a lot of people who think it's some kind of dinosaur. I don't remember if I made that or if I happened to find that. I believe that I at least photoshopped Venusaur onto here. But I think that I found this meme somehow. I don't remember. But like also that's objectively very funny to me. Which is probably why I put it in. Soar at the end, but the word soar means lizard. Like, the word dinosaur means terrible lizard. So, just because it has soar in it, doesn't mean it's a dinosaur. Side tangent. When people... I would do that in several... That was a big thing for me to do in several of my very early videos, where I would go off on, like, a side tangent, and I would, somewhere on the screen, put, like, hashtag side tangent. And I don't remember why I did that. Again... relatively cringe for me too, although it is very fun to look back on because I'd completely forgotten about that. Fossils back in the day, they didn't really know what they were. They were just kind of throwing stuff out. So there's actually a species of fossil whale called Basilosaurus, I believe. Even though it's a whale, its official scientific name means king lizard. But anyway, no, Venusaur is none of those things, based on the fact that it has pinnae, the plural of pinna, is still reptile-like. So, in my professional opinion, Venusaur is not really anything. Professional opinion. So this was me. This was my final year of undergrad, so I did not yet have a bachelor's degree. I don't know why I would say professional opinion like that, but okay. That anybody might have proposed. It's not a frog or toad. It's not a lizard. It's not a dinosaur. It's not even really a mammal. It's somewhere along the lines between mammals and early synapses. And the audio just, the music just cuts. Oh my, I don't think I knew that about this video before. Cladistics, which is the science of figuring out how things are related. Okay, there it is. With early synapses at the bottom. Weird. In real life, the rest of the synapses just died, and now there's just mammals. However, in the world of Pokemon, things could work completely different, where mammals evolved, and then whatever Venusaur is evolved. It's definitely a synapsid, but it retained a lot of reptile-like aspects, such as the, wide, outspread gait, which you don't see in mammals, as well as just this general lumpiness and reptile-likeness. So I'm going to flex here for a second and just cite the fact that I got research about synapsids published by the Geological Society of America back in March. So I kind of know what I'm talking about with these group of animals. I just want to let that sit for a minute. Oh, Gavin. You sweet summer child.
So, fight me. But Gavin, these other Pokemon have ears. Are they mammals too? No. No, they're not. So just for example, I'll go over those 3 Pokemon that I threw up on screen there. Firstly, Lapras and Slowbro. Now, if you look at the structure of what look like ears, they're basically just like a little swirly thing on either side of their head. But if you look, there's no hole that like goes down into its head like an actual ear would have. So that is one thing that leads me to believe that they're not really ears. And instead, what I think that these structures might be is some kind of thing to detect water movement, you know, while underwater, because they're both water types. Lapras is obviously fully aquatic. Slowbro somehow is semi-aquatic. I don't really know how Slowbro works because it doesn't have fins or anything. It doesn't really look adapted to swimming at all. But anyway, that's sort of what I think of it as. It's sort of like an ear that would work underwater, just to sense like water flow, you know. And in Gliscor, well, first of all, Gliscor is not even a vertebrate, so it definitely can't be a mammal. Probably what Gliscor has is that its exoskeleton just sort of evolved that shape to, you know, redirect sound waves toward its head to better detect vibrations while it's flying around. That's, you know, it's not any cartilage.
Like, so if I were to remake this video today, all of these points that I'm hitting along the way would be the same, but ooh boy, would the style just be real different. And also would just be much more, I still say and stuff a lot in most of my, especially unscripted videos, sort of like this, but in my scripted videos, I really don't. I cut that out. So good on you for still feeling comfortable with posting this, Gavin. It gave me some material.
It looks like just like a hard part of its exoskeleton, like every, you know, arthropod has. So Gliscor is definitely not a mammal, and its ears are definitely not pinnae, like the same way Venusaurs are. Or if you just want to watch the world burn, you could just say that, heck it, it's Pokemon, they just put ears on a frog. But there you have it, a biologist's take on what Venusaur really is. Let me know what your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you have any other Pokemon science-based questions, let me know. Maybe I'll make a video about it. So
yeah, so that's this video. Again, a lot of the things that I do in some of my more recent videos are just very like derived versions of this. I've gotten much better about doing a lot of things. So for example, I've kind of realized through watching this, I'm not actually looking at a script. There was no script for this video. I was looking at myself in OBS as I was recording. That's definitely what I was doing here, which is interesting because like I could see that like my eyes were not really moving to be reading off of a script. I was just looking at myself to make sure, like, am I centered in the frame? Am I high enough up in the shot? Am I like slouching? How does it look, whatever I'm doing with my hands at that point? How does that look? Which is interesting. And also sort of like looking where to point for directing to something, you know? Like I did just sort of right there. I looked at the screen over here to make sure that I was leaning far enough over here to see my hand, that kind of thing. But I was just way more obvious about it than I am in the more recent videos, at least from what I could tell anyway when I watch it back. But yeah, there's really, this channel's come a really long way, and that's in big part, you know, thanks to all of y'all as well. I appreciate all of you so much. And as much as I do think it is time for me to, you know, move on with some of my like creative stuff in life, such as like the podcast that I do and the science blog that I have, you know, this channel was and will always be really important to me. So I want to thank y'all for really helping me develop a lot of, you know, useful skills that I will use, you know, in the future, like for my career and everything, and as well as just having a really awesome community. I really enjoy this community. So I will still be, you know, replying to comments and things like that every now and then. But yeah. I don't really know what else to say that I haven't said, you know, a whole bunch, especially in that update video, but I guess until sometime in the future, maybe, there's a time and place for everything.